connecting Indigenous musicians and artists to the world. Welcome to Indigenous Superstars with your host, Rhonda Head.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show this evening. I'm coming to you live from Paskwayak Cree Nation in Bigedi, Manitoba, the heart of Paskwayak Cree Nation. So I'm glad to be with you again tonight. Tonight is my 65th show, so I'm really excited about that. And I also want to thank Stay at Home Manitoba. They awarded me a grant, and they're giving out a whole bunch of grants to a bunch of artists on ways how we can create some kind of entertainment and encourage people to stay safe at home during this pandemic. So I want to give a big shout out to the province of Manitoba for awarding these grants to different arts organizations, and for myself too, for Indigenous Superstars. I've it enabled me to introduce some really fantastic musicians and people in the Palo Trail. So I'm really excited that Stay at Home Manitoba awarded me a grant. And I also want to remind people that on Friday we're a couple of organizations in Manitoba, and I got approached to do a virtual concert to fundraise for the homeless people in Winnipeg. And last week, the temperatures were at really brutal minus 50, in the minus 50 range. It was really, really super cold, and the homeless were struggling to keep warm and to find food, and a whole bunch of organizations and awesome people got together to start fundraising and helping out the homeless in Winnipeg, and they approached me, so I'm going to be hosting a virtual concert on Friday. So I hope you tune in. There's the poster that was made, and all the organizations that are on board. Got some comments here. I'm assuming that's Jimmy Lee. He's always tuning in. Hey, Jimmy Lee. I'm pretty sure it's you. Love you, sis. Love you too. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm just going to read the bio of my next guest. It's on my iPhone, so I have to make it a little bit large so I could read it properly. That's what happens when you get older. You start losing your eyesight. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the show again. Nice to see you on. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention. I ordered I went and purchased my new Reverse Jets jersey, and I just love it. And it's the, where is it? Assistant captain. So, of course, it's number 50, 55. Okay, Bobby Rose, Trudy Stevenson, hello. Bobby Rose, Angela Valley, Rochelle Kelly. Nice. Yeah, thanks. I love my jersey. It's a number 55 Shifley, and everyone knows that I'm a big fan of Shifley. Okay, Jeremy Allen. He's an Inuit. Is an active flautist, saxophonist, and pedagogy. Is that how you? I hope I said that correctly. In the Westman region of Manitoba. Deeply invested in musical excellence, Jeremy dabbles in all facts of music composition, to performance, to music education and musicology, living to become the total musician. Born in Brandon, Manitoba, Jeremy soon found himself living in the Musagagan Cree Nation shortly after his mom found her first teaching job fresh out of university, moving to the PA in 2005, where he settled until 2018. Jeremy began his musical roots under the direction of Jeff Ings and Heather Gibson in middle and high school. Currently enrolled in the Bachelor of Flute performance at Brandon University under the tutelage of Professor Nancy Hennen. Jeremy has maintained an active performing career in Manitoba, but has also appeared in ensembles or as a soloist in Saskatchewan, Alberta, Ontario, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Coming up, Jeremy is auditioning for his master's in wind conducting across Canada with hopes of someday pursuing a doctorate to become a university level band director. Jeremy's primary teacher for flute have been Nancy Hansen, Lisa Bose Sandberg, and Laurel Ridd. Saxophone Matthew Steckler and Wendy McCullum, and conducting Wendy McCullen and Andre Deganey. I hope I didn't. Please welcome Jeremy.
Hi, Rhonda. How are you? Hi, everybody.
Hi. I just going to acknowledge Tony. He's tuning in from Sydney, Australia. So welcome, Tony. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm glad you're tuning in tonight to witness Jeremy. He's going to give us an awesome performance tonight with his magical flute. So how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm back in the PAW from Brandon for the reading week. So I'm just super excited to be home with my family and getting to see everybody back here up in the north. So yeah, I'm doing fabulous. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're just like pretty well next door across the bridge from me.
You bet. You bet.
Oh, that's so cool. Very cool. So I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. What inspired you to get into music?
So I started band really late. It was something I only started in grade 10, halfway through grade 10. Most people had been playing music for 4 or 5 years up until that point. So I came in really, really, really behind and below where everybody was. So my band director at the time, Heather Gibson, encouraged me to go to the International Music Camp in North Dakota, where I learned so much. I met one of my future mentors, Laurel Ridd there, who gave me so many tools. And I came back to MBCI just rip roaring and ready to go. I had so much newfound knowledge and I really improved over the 1 week. And I kind of just wanted to make my life about that. So that's really where I decided I had a love for music. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a kid. And that just made me decide that I really wanted to go into music education, and performance is because, the inspiration that I got from some of my fabulous mentors at IMC, I wanted to do that for other people in the future.
That is so awesome. So what attracted you to the flute? How did you decide to play the flute?
Well, when you go into, and I tried out for band in grade 6, but I didn't go through with it. I remember sitting in the room and nobody could make a sound on the flute. You get in and they get you to blow on the flute like this and everybody would go, but I was the only one in the room that could get a clear sound out of the head joint. I was the only one. And I remember Jeff Ings looking at me and he said, "You're going to be a flute player." And I was like, oh dear, because I was like, oh no, this is where all of the girls sit. I'm going to be put in the back. I wanted to sit in the back row with my friends who are playing trumpet. But I just loved it. And it's really something that I've excelled at. I played saxophone in the jazz ensembles at MBCI. And I still take lessons. I double on flute and jazz saxophone at Brandon University, so that's something I keep up as well. So yeah.
That's cool. I remember when I was in the high school or junior high, like grade 6 too. They come to you. They come to the grade 6ers and they introduce the instruments.
Mhm.
And I remember that I wanted to that always wanted to play a wind instrument, a wood in the woodwind section. So I tried the clarinet, and I totally fell in love with it, and I totally excelled in it. I got A+ all the time. Every year I took it, and then I graduated, or I moved on to the alto clarinet. So,
Oh, wow.
oh, and Tony said, "How about a few bars of Take Five on the sax here?"
Everybody's got that memorized for sure.
Now, a Facebook user, can you type your name? It's not showing up on my feed, but the Facebook user said, "I'm 27. I'm going back to school for my grade 12 diploma." They're saying they feel embarrassed, but don't feel embarrassed at all. It's always a great time. Doesn't matter how old you are, and going back to school is a great accomplishment. And but I can't wait to see more goals open to achieve. I would love to try the flute. It's relaxing. Good job, Jeremy. So yeah, don't feel embarrassed to go back to school. I think it's a wonderful it's wonderful that you're going back to school. It's great. Oh, that's Rochelle Kelly. Okay, yeah, it's not nothing to be ashamed of at all. My late mom graduated when she was 62 with her master's degree. So she's one of my role models, and I love her. And she inspired me to continue to learn, no matter, even though I'm getting older. I'm always learning new things. So Jeremy, are you ready to play your first flute piece?
Yes, I am definitely ready. So the first piece of music that I have to play for everybody tonight is a piece for solo flute called Syrinx by Debussy. And this is a piece that features a lot of musical space. It's a fairly recent piece in terms of what we'd call classical music. So it's definitely a little bit different than what people are used to hearing when it comes to, the classical music umbrella term that we kind of fall under. But yeah, so here is Debussy's Syrinx. Thank you, Janet.
Awesome. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to also say when I remember when we were being exposed to all these instruments when you're in grade 6 and grade 7, and yeah, I tried the flute too, and it was really difficult to play, and to you have to have your lip has to be formed in such a way where you're blowing that air into that flute piece to create the sound. So I think it's so amazing when people when I hear people play that instrument, because I understand how hard that instrument is to play, because I had a hard time doing it. And but when I played the clarinet, it was pretty easy for me, and just lip control with the reed and tonguing, and it was just I really enjoyed it too. I really excelled in band. But I moved to Winnipeg when I was 16 years old, and then when the school that I attended in Winnipeg didn't have a band program, so
Oh.
I had to give up on that, and I ended up graduating in at the University of Winnipeg Collegiate, so I didn't have a band program there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
And I
So
think everybody's different. You put a flute in front of me, you put a saxophone in front of me, and I can play you wondrous things. I can do amazing things on the clarinet. You put an oboe in front of me, and there's no freaking way I'd be able to do anything. Same thing with any brass instrument. I'm horrible. Even piano, to a certain extent, I'm not very good. So everybody's built differently. Obviously, you found great success as a singer. And, my encouragement to everybody who's interested in music is, if you tried piano once and it didn't work for you, try something else. Because, if I gave up after taking a week of piano lessons like I did, I would be not where I am right now. So definitely everybody who's been discouraged by music, don't, because there's so many different options that you can take for pursuing your dreams with music.
that's so true, and so different, so many types of genres too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just limitless.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I wanted to ask you, do you compose do you have any of your own compositions?
Yeah, so I'm actually working on a piece right now. It's a suite for flute and piano on Indigenous folk songs. Because I was taking part in a Q&A session with an Indigenous flautist a few weeks ago. And it's something I've been thinking about. I remember asking my flute teacher at Brandon University, Nancy Hennon, do you know of any Indigenous music that I can play for a recital or something? Because I want to put that side of me. Our music and our instruments are a way for us to represent ourselves. And it's difficult for me because there's no music written out there for me to express my Indigenous heritage. And I grew up on Moose Lake. There's nowhere for me to express myself in that way. So instead of complaining or feeling down about it, I decided, you know what, I'm going to be the one that writes that piece. So I'm working on it. And I mean, I don't know when I'm going to get it done. It's definitely in the works. It's probably going to be one of my capstones for my flute playing before I go into conducting. But yeah, I am working on my own suite for flute and piano for Indigenous folk songs, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it when it's complete. So I just want
Mm-hmm.
to read some of the comments from some of the viewers. Kim Patterson said, I played accordion, clarinet, and flute when I was young. It's amazing how many musicians are multi-talented. And
Yeah.
Janet says, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you, Janet.
And Tony said, quick tips before you go on the saxophone. My repertoire at this stage is only happy birthday.
I love it. Yeah, iReal Pro, you can get so many jazz standards on there. Definitely, if you go on to YouTube and just look up alto sax backing tracks, you can get free sheet music with free accompaniment. I use it to sight read, but I definitely have students use them as recital pieces for right now. Because we're in the pandemic, we can't collaborate with pianists. So definitely digitalizing yourself and moving onto the screen will help you with that. So yeah, for sure. Like definitely check out YouTube and iReal Pro. They have some amazing resources, especially for beginning musicians.
That's so awesome. Janet is my sister, and she's tuning in from Winnipeg. And I just want to share a story about her because when we're out in public or when people find out that I'm her sister, they ask her, "Can you sing?" And she goes, and this is for you to hear too, Tony, in Australia. She goes, "Can you?" When they ask her if she sings, she says, "I can only sing Happy Birthday."
That's so funny. That's so funny. My brother is the same way. Apparently, every time my grandma lives in Saskatoon, and apparently every time when he goes there, all of her friends, she lives in a 55 plus condo area, and all of my grandma's friends will ask my little brother, "Oh, how's music going? How's music going?" So he changed his Facebook bio to "No, I'm not the music one." So I totally get that. Your sister and my brother will have to have a brunch someday to talk about living under the shadow.
She said she sings Happy Birthday really well.
I mean, for my singing capabilities, that's as good as I can do sometimes as well. So do not feel bad.
Maybe her and Tony can collaborate. You could
Yeah.
play saxophone and Janet could sing. So Tony says, "Thank you, Jeremy. My only fan in my neighborhood when I practice is the cat next door." It's amazing.
I'll have to try that for my cat someday. He seems to not like me half the time, so maybe I'll try that out. I'll take a lesson.
I sort of let the people tuning in too. Musagagan, Moose Lake is like an hour away from Opaskwayak Cree Nation, so it's really close by. And we were talking earlier, and we are talking about how we're always laughing all the times and joking around and just having fun. So with that, are you ready to play your next piece?
Yes, I am. So going in the other direction of the musical sphere, I guess, I'm going to go into the Baroque period of music and play you some Bach. And this comes from his most famous suite for flute, his Partita in A, which is written for solo flute. And I'm going to play for everybody his Bourrée Anglais, which is the final movement of his suite.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure the viewers really enjoyed that. I know I did. Thank you so much for playing that for us.
Thank
So
you.
beautiful. So beautiful. Uh, oh, the hearts are coming. Love it. Made me smile.
Aw, thank you.
Some hearts coming there. Yeah, that's awesome. It's so beautiful. I just love classical music.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially it just takes me away to another.
Yeah.
It gets me traveling. You know, it
Yeah,
takes me
for
away.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Fan!
Um,
Anna Bulio is one of my former teachers. I miss her. She's one of my favorites. So thank you so much for tuning in.
and Kim said is the one. Is that the one you really love playing?
I love playing Bach. Every flute player loves Bach. My flute teacher is a specialist in the time period that Bach was composing. Oh, Shireen. Hi, Shireen. Thanks for tuning in.
She said, "I'm so proud of you. Thank you for playing this."
Wow.
And Andrew Legany, my accompanist, great job, Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in. And
Thanks, Andrew.
Tony from Australia said, "Awesome. There's hope for my neighbor's cat." And Kim said it seemed like you were light and smiling.
So a beret is a dance, so it's always nice and lively and super fun. So yeah, I just love playing those types of music. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, so beautiful. So I wanted to ask you another question. You said you're going into conducting. Can you share a little bit with us about that?
Yeah, so conducting, I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I've always known that. I've had some really great role models for band directors. Heather Gibson, who I've had the opportunity to work with so many music educators across Manitoba, and we have such an amazing band director in the PA. And she really inspired me to pass on to the next generation, just enthusiasm and joy and respect for music. And then, of course, Dr. Wendy McCollum, one of the best conductors in Canada. I have the great fortune of having her as a mentor, not just for conducting, but one-on-one as my saxophone teacher too. So it's something that I think that suits me better. I'm a better public speaker than I am somebody who I've always have fit in better with crowds than I have as a soloist. So getting up on stage and performing a recital, I always get the nerves and I get the shakes, and it's something that I don't want to spend the rest of my life worrying about. Whereas when I get up on stage and I start waving my stick around, it's just so much fun. I get to smile at my ensemble. We really get to connect. We all are feeling the same vibrations in the stage. We're all feeling the same music. We're all together, and that, to me, that human connection is just so important and so special when it comes to music. So that's what made me go into conducting. Now I'm looking at a few schools across Canada. I've had the opportunity to work with so many amazing conductors through IMC and through various workshops that come through Manitoba. I'm not sure where I'm going to head off yet. I'm also looking at master's in flute degrees still, in case my life goes down that route. But I conduct my own flute choir at Brandon University. The Brandon University Flute Choir is my ensemble, and we've performed publicly. We toured care homes pre-COVID for holiday concerts. So just being able to showcase not just my talent, but the talent that I can bring out in other people, and the inspiration that I can give to other people really makes me want to continue with conducting as opposed to flute. So, but yeah, I really owe that just all the way down to Wendy McCollum and Heather Gibson. They're just amazing, amazing, amazing role models for me.
That's awesome. So, could I ask you to play one more piece before we end the show?
Yes, for sure. So I have
Okay.
a piece by a Canadian composer. His name is Denis Goujon, a Quebecois composer. And his flute piece that I'm going to be playing is a piece of the avant-garde era. It's called L'Oiseau Blessé, which means the injured bird in French. So it's going to sound a little bit different. This is definitely something that kind of reaches out of the classical realm of music and goes into impressionism. I'm just gonna see if you can see me here. I'm using my my laptop as a music stand right now, so I'm trying to maneuver this. But yeah, this is called L'Oiseau Blessé for solo flute. Thank you.
That was so interesting. You just caught my attention with that. Wow.
Yeah, it's very different compared to what you normally hear, eh?
Yeah, it was like very dramatic. It just brought me right in.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you, Rhonda.
Yes. So we're coming to the end of the show now. Is there anything you want to share? Or any parting words you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, I just think for anybody who wants to take part in music in any way, just go for it. This is my life's passion. This is so many other people's life's passion, just like it is yours, Rhonda. There's just so many people who get discouraged. I know I did. I remember walking into music school, my first year of university, and everybody was talking about their favorite composers and their favorite artists, and all of their favorite artists were Debussy and Bach and Mozart, and I was like, I just like Britney Spears. So definitely don't get discouraged by music. It's intimidating, it's stressful at times, but find your hobby, find your passion. That's the most important thing when it comes to those of us who are musicians, and especially those of us who are Indigenous musicians. We have the added responsibility of keeping our traditions at the forefront, because it's so important to keep that kind of knowledge and keep that kind of culture in our in our repertoire, or else we're going to lose it, and we can't lose it. So especially if you're an Indigenous person looking to get into music, definitely, it's so important.
It is very important. And yeah, for myself, like I started off with classical music too, and singing in French, Italian, Latin, and I was learning all these different languages. And what for me, I kind of put a hold on that. I said, "Whoa, I should be learning my own language." So that's how I started incorporating the Cree language into the classical music and into my own music too. And it brought back my language. Like I don't speak it fluently, but because I started doing that, I started learning my languages, and it started to come back to me again. So yeah, it's just and whatever genre, right? It doesn't have to be classical. It could be jazz or country or whatever is passionate for you. Just try it out. You never know. You never know,
Exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I want to thank you again for being my guest tonight, and I'm glad that we connected. The past couple weeks we connected, right? I'm glad you reached out to me, and I'm glad you shared your what you're doing and the incredible music that you're playing, and it's just been so wonderful to have you on, and you're my first flute player on the show, so it's
Wow,
so
that's awesome. Yeah, and
yeah.
thank you so much for putting this on. It's so important for us to be able to connect with one another, um, you know, um, and being able to share our art and our passions with each other. So thank you so much for all of your time and effort that you put into this series. It's definitely appreciated. So yeah.
Thank you. So I'm really glad, and I just want to make a call out to people. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see all the past shows the past artists that I've interviewed, and all of them were so special, and it's really exciting. And my next guest next week, next Monday, is Casey Koisken. He's from, I believe he's from Northwest Territories, and he lives in Winnipeg. He's an artist and a musician, so I'm really excited to interview him next week. And Friday, don't forget the fundraising show. That'll be on live on my Facebook as well. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. Sherry said, thank you both for sharing your knowledge and positive energy with us this evening. Thank you for tuning in, Sherry.
Thank you, Miss Hellstrom.
Aguse.
See you. Thank you.
Tune in again next time when Rhonda interviews another up-and-coming Indigenous superstar. Only on Indigenous Superstar.